From the day the president came into office and said, subsidy is gone, our economy has never been the same again.
Okay.
The life of Nigerians has never been the same again. You, as a president, you said subsidy is gone. What are the mechanisms you put in place? They told us that the Warri refinery will work by December. We're approaching the 4th December or the 3rd December going forward, and there's no light at the end of the tunnel. The proceed, because the president promised us at that time that the proceed of that they're getting from subsidy removal will be used to help construct roads, build homes, because then they were complaining about the issue of housing. That they're going to build more homes and ensure, okay, they expand development horizon to all regions. But we didn't see all of that. They never played out. You see, the late General Sani Abacha said, if it's just insurgency lasts more than 24 hours, the government of the day, they have a hand in it. And President Vladimir Putin will tell you that you don't negotiate with terrorists. You send them to where they ought to be. But in Nigeria, we hold meetings with terrorists. We applaud them in meetings. They come in their full regalia and armor to government functions to deliberate on issues. They give a marching order to the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and we've not been able to give our own order to terrorists who lay down their arms or face the full weight of the government and the law. In a country where people not pay tax to bandits to go to their farm, then the whipper of me going to farm will not be there. I'd rather stay in my house, do a small subsistence farming for me and my family, where we just plant in the back of our house, than to go to my farm. At the end of the day, somebody will not come and tell me to pay 300,000 naira for me to harvest, 100,000 naira for me to go and clear. Then when I harvest and I'm coming out from the farm, they select what they want and give me the rest to go. It keeps baffling that these terrorists will go into a barrack. Do you know what it means to go into a barrack? Overpower our military, take their ammunition, take their vehicles, and go away and be celebrating it. To run a barrack. So where are the surveillance in the barracks? Are they sleeping? So it tells something somewhere. It's not me. I'm calling for the sack of the NSA. The National Security Advisor should be sacked as a matter of urgency. Because if he can give bandits guns to go and fight their fellow terrorists, and at the end of the day they run away with the vehicles and the guns, he should be sacked for that single act. I thought he should bring from office. It means he has compromised his office. When you take such tasks, you don't go religious, you don't go ethically biased, you stand for the nation. You are bringing a state policeman to come and do what? Have you paid the federal police very well? What's the life pension of federal police? What's the state of the barracks? So you bring somebody, you employ the person to come and do the same routine will continue. Pay the federal police, pay them very well first, secure their barracks, make them, there was someone I went to, I saw police officers sleeping on ordinary floor. I told them, I said, in fact, I'm not happy with this way the police are treated in this country. This man lying on ordinary floor, tomorrow you give him a rifle to go and do what? So do what? Mentally, the man is not stable. He didn't have a good sleep. The money you tell him to come out, they buy uniforms, they buy the ammunition themselves. The other day they were calling out soldiers, they were giving soldiers small ration of food to go and fight soldiers. And you think they will go all out to go and risk their lives? And when they die, what do they get? 1 million.
The International Monetary Fund said yesterday, Tuesday, the reforms implemented by the Nigerian government has strengthened the country's economy, but warned that more than 60% of Nigerians now live in poverty. Since taking office just over 3 years ago, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has removed the costly fuel subsidy that had kept petrol prices artificially low for decades, liberalized the exchange rate for its currency, and overhauled the country tax system. While economists said the policy changes are long overdue, poverty has continued to increase, affecting about 63% of our population at the end of 2025. Now, more than 27 million people face food insecurity during the year, according to IMF. Now, strong reforms over the past 3 years have yielded improved macroeconomic output and built resilience, but the IMF said in a statement after its annual review of the Nigerian economy. Now, still conditions for Nigerians remain difficult. It said poverty has trickled up in Africa's most populous country for years, which the World Bank reporting last year said about 61% of the country's population lived in poverty, up from 40% in 2019. Now, 3/4 of the increase occurred before 2023, when Tinubu was sworn in. The World Bank noted at that time, widespread insecurity from armed groups, especially in the north, where a large bulk of the country's food is grown. It's another risk to people and economic activity, the IMF said. Now, in the same day as the Monetary Fund was releasing the report, the Federal House of Representatives told the security chiefs, excuse me, to resign if they cannot stop the insecurity, which, as the IMF said, is the growing reason for poverty. But the question remains, what needs to be done with the growing insecurity and also, in turn, help reduce the number of poor Nigerians in the country? Well, these and more will take center stage on the show today. We'll x-ray in on the recent IMF report on Nigeria. That's what we're looking at critically today on the show, looking at that very report that was released yesterday by the International Monetary Fund, indicating that well, the reform seems to be working, but as much as it's working, we are also neck deep into poverty. 63% of Nigerians are indeed poor. But anyway, it will never be a poor discussion on dialogue. It's always rich and robust because we always enjoy having deep resource persons that will help us look critically at the issues and the level of poverty in the country. But anyway, to help us do that, we have no other person, but I rather put his comrade part because I always enjoy looking at him as the comrade and that fights for a whole lot of downtrodden Nigerians. And I'm talking of no other person, but the senior special assistant to His Excellency, the Governor of Delta State, on human rights issues, Comrade Kelvin Ejumudo. Good day and welcome to the show, sir.
Good morning, Mr. Ray. Good morning, viewers, and thanks for having me.
Well, anyway, good it is that we finally have gotten this report. And I remember is the 2026 Article 4 consultation report released just yesterday by the International Monetary Fund. And now many media outlets, just like ourselves, are always critical and waiting for such a report to be released so we understand the narrative and the direction Nigeria seems to be going. But indeed, he had a lot to say yesterday. He praised the federal government for their reforms and felt it was working, but gave us a blow underneath, saying that 63% of Nigerians are indeed poor. Now, what's your take according to these reports? Is there every need for us to celebrate, or there's every need for us to reflect? Let's understand.
Thank you very much. I think first, I must commend the IMF for coming out with this robust report.
Yes.
Looking at the indices, the socioeconomic activities of our country, and also giving a futuristic program of how the outcome or the perceived outcome of it. Having said that, I think I'll beg to differ a little on some of their postulations and assertions. You see, one, that the policies of the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's government is working and is effective on Nigerians. You see, it's a simple thing. The first effect of government policies is to reflect in the life of the common man.
Okay.
It's not in how much politicians have in their account, but how well is the downtrodden have been able to have access to those government policies without stress. And as they reflect in their daily living, perhaps a family of two before now, maybe they're having 3 square meals. Now, in their population, they say 62% of Nigerians are living in poverty. But I beg you, we have even up to 80%. If they come, perhaps maybe their survey, how they gather their hypothesis was maybe differ. But if they come down to meet with the average Nigerian and interface and carry out a survey of families of 2, families of 1, families of 6, both in the rural and the urban settlement, then they will understand that it's even way beyond the figures they gave at 3. I'm postulating like 80% of Nigerians living in poverty. Perhaps before now we have a middle class. But the contemporary Nigeria today, you are either poor or you are rich. There's no middle class anywhere. So having said that, looking at the policies, you see, before you bring policies, you must put plans on ground to cushion effect of some of these policies. You agree with me that from the day the president came into office and said subsidy is gone, our economy has never been the same again.
Okay.
The life of Nigerians has never been the same again. That singular statement made by the president, investors now knew where they could channel their funds into.
Yeah.
Now you keep saying the policies are working. In what way are they working?
Okay.
Let's go to the education sector. Let's go to the health sector.
Okay.
Let's go to job creation sector.
Okay.
We'll go to food security, insecurity, taxation. Yes, I know they're working because the president seems to have a very good way of driving IGR.
Okay.
Let's also go back to say, okay, you as a president, you said subsidy is gone. What are the mechanisms you put in place? They told us that the Warri refinery will work by December. We're approaching the 4th December or the 3rd December going forward, and there's no light at the end of the tunnel.
Okay, but let's. I really understand what you mean. On the mining, you feel those policies were really introduced to help deal with the problems we've been faced as a people.
Yes.
We can barely see those reflecting in the lives of ordinary Nigerians.
Yes.
That's where your grievances seems to lie.
Yes.
But if you still take your mind back to pre-2023 May, we're spending roughly 400 billion naira monthly on fuel subsidy. And if you look at over the three leading contestants or candidates during the 2023 general elections, Peter Obi of the Labour Party of then, Atiku Abubakar of the PDP, and the president himself, all mentioned that they will remove the fuel subsidy, which in every way is more like reforming and indeed revamping our economic push. Now, yes, all of those policies, let's first look at them. Do you feel those policies would have stayed? Let's understand, because I want to understand where your anger seems to lie. Do you feel those policies were needed to be removed? When we had two forex windows as it concerns our currency, one was the normal one and the other one was the black market. And now harmonizing the two of them, and now these recent new reforms that seems to take more money away from the rich and less from the poor. So were those policies not in the right direction? Let's understand your anger.
The fuel subsidy removal was a step in the right direction.
Okay.
Because we know a lot of corruption has bedeviled that
that sector over decades.
Yes, you move oil from point A to point B, and at the end of the day, you come and say it's been subsidized.
Okay.
You take the oil from Nigeria, take it to Benin Republic, and bring it back, and you say you imported it and using dollars and all of that.
Yeah.
Now, I quite agree. The policies, it was the best time for it to be done.
Okay.
But not the way it was done.
Okay.
Now, the president just came in and said subsidy is gone.
Okay.
He would have run, let's say he paid for it 6 months.
Okay.
Then in that 6 months, ensure that our refineries are set to take off.
Okay.
So it will not, we won't feel the brunt of it.
Yeah.
But
the direct impact.
Yes, but when you said something is gone, there was nothing put in place to help cushion the effect of the subsidy on the economy. Remember, as I said, subsidy is gone. The price of products in the market skyrocketed. The price of, I think then we're doing about 500, 400 per liter, 300 per liter, was still complaining.
Yeah.
It means subsidy is gone, it tripled. Until date, we are still there, 1,330 per liter of PMS. And everything around the economy runs around PMS and diesel. For example, your studio you're running now, you're going to be on diesel and you know how much per liter of diesel. So your advertorial now will not be the same amount it were at that time. And other programs you run must also have effect. Yeah. Now, looking at that scenario, I would say the president did the right thing to remove subsidy because all aspirants or candidates at that time agreed that subsidy should be gone. Yeah. But all of them gave the processes they're going to put in place to ensure that the boomerang effect will be for good and not for the bad of Nigerians, like we're experiencing now.
Okay.
Now we have a refinery that's not working. We should be bothered. If a single Nigerian can have a refinery in Lagos and Ekpe that is one of the biggest in West Africa, then how come the giant of Africa, the most black populous nation, cannot even have one refinery or two that's functional that we can't? Because it boosts the economy. From crude oil, you have diesel, you have kerosene, you have fuel, you have hydraulic, you have grease, you have all things, breakthroughs and all of that, the whole component that comes out from it. So in all of these assets, it helps to boost your market value. But now you say something is gone and we're not seeing the effect of it.
Okay, now let's look at the effect of what that removal led to. Many said it plunged Nigeria deep into poverty.
But it made our state to be richer.
Yes, it made more money
For the
going
state,
to the
going
states
state,
and the
yes.
state governors, and the 3 tiers of government were now sharing huge sums of money. Well, some states are using it to build roads and bridges, while others are, well, anyway, I will not say, but Jamboree is still continuing. But let's leave how happy they are and look at how sad we are.
Yes.
In 2019, 40% of Nigerians were poor. Take us to 2023, or even to this year, we have 63%. But in that very report, because I read it categorically and analyzed it, what they said was 2/4 of the poor persons that were added from 2019 till now, 3/4 were May 2023. That means between 2019 and 2023, we even had more poor persons than we did from 2023 now to where we are. Yeah. Last year alone, we had 27 million persons going hungry in end of 2025, according to our findings on Dialogue and according to our report. But my question now is, yes, the federal government abruptly ended fuel subsidy. You said they would have taken some few time to really analyze and help pushing some other things to cushion the effect. But they also talked about money transfers.
Yeah.
According to the IMF and the World Bank, they've made such transfers to about 9.2 million Nigerians. They would have loved it to be 15 million households, but just 9.2 million. And transfers of 25,000 naira have gone to some of these families. So we don't know how many times that has been, but according to our own findings on Dialogue, please, if you like, you can go and check. It's only 3 times we've seen such transfers. Anyway, that's what we know, and according to our records right here on Dialogue. But is that not also a way to help cushion it? Because according to the government and World Bank, they feel that would have been another way to help deal with the stress being associated with the removal.
That is, you know, it's like postponing the doomsday. That's how I see that kind of policy.
Well, what a narrative.
In a country where we have over almost 350 million population, you gave just not even up to 10% of the population. I call it a peanut. Because 25,000 naira cannot even buy a bag of rice. So you gave a family perhaps of 2 or 4, 25,000 naira. To do what? How long, you see, you must look at how long would that money, how long can that money save a family?
Okay.
Only on feeding.
Okay.
Mind you, the subsidy removal also affected the price of rentage.
Yeah.
So you're giving me 25,000 naira today to feed, maybe to feed for 1 month. So my family feed on that for a month. What happens to the month of July? We'll fall back to saying what? Still crying, because 25,000 naira cannot even start a small and medium scale business.
Yeah.
If they say, okay, perhaps we want to even go into sales of airtime or any other minor business you want to do to get, you can't even establish nothing on that 25,000 naira. So at the end of the day, it is putting a square peg in a round hole. Hence the boomerang effect. You see, people are still crying, people are still lamenting. There's hunger in the land, there's starvation in the land, and we are still we've come back to Jerusalem where we ought to have left before now.
Okay, well, anyway, it's not all Israel, everybody to your tent. Let's still remain where we are now and look at this issue now, because I'm really also critically looking at it. Now, we know, according to the IMF report, that poverty is also being attributed to the growth of insecurity, where you have more farmers not wanting to farm on account of being adopted and killed or asked for ransom. But irrespective of that, one of the culprits of having our inflation increase rather than we have that constant month of decrease, it now increased to about 15.17%, is because of the war in the Middle East. Okay. And we're having high oil price, and that has really reflected and gave us a heavy blow. Hence, our inflation rate increased in the last month. But irrespective of that, what do you feel the government failed to do?
Okay.
To deal with the hunger that was reflected in the increase of the fuel subsidy. Yes, you said they would have given us time. Even if they were giving us time, they'll still increase it.
Yes.
Even if for private refineries come, it's still been increased.
Very well.
So what do you feel the government would have done during that period of time to help remove this large chunk of almost 23% of Nigerians falling neck deep into poverty again, rather than being removed from poverty?
It's what we call economic projections.
Okay.
You see, at the time we have Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala as our Minister of Finance.
Yeah.
You saw how she was able to travel our economy then during the Goodluck Jonathan era.
Yes.
You know, there are economic postulations, there are indices. You look at the global market, check your strength. What are your export commodities?
Yeah.
What does Nigeria spend money on?
Yeah.
I was thinking we spend money more on oil. No, Nigerians will even get more money on service.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you go and check now, you see that the services we render, that's when Nigeria makes more money than even crude oil.
Yes.
So what do you now do? You expand the market for services. What are our export strengths? We have cocoa, we have rubber, we have timber, we have one of the best wires today in the world, Nigerian. What do we do? The strength of your economy, you go there and ensure it's more strengthened, and you reach out to a wider market margin. We have the World Trade Organization, we have the international bond market. We look at these indices. Now, what our government has done differently is this. Now, if we say, okay, we're no longer paying for subsidy, the proceed, because the president promised us at that time that the proceed of that they're getting from subsidy removal will be used to help construct roads, build homes, because then they were complaining about the issue of housing. That they're going to build more homes and ensure, okay, they expand development horizon to all regions. But we didn't see all of that. They never played out. Now, what they should have done differently is this: look at your economic league of persons and say, okay, what do we do and what have we been doing that is not working for us?
Okay.
Now we're just running about taxation. It's good to have a taxable economy because that's where you can hope. But when people don't see that this tax they are paying does not reflect in their daily life, in America you have tax reform.
Yes. When
you put in there at the end of the financial year, they give you a percentage of the money back.
Yes.
So you see it like the government is responsible. You want to do everything to ensure that you pay your tax. You have people that want to evade tax. But in this circumstance that we find ourselves now, we are not seeing the cushion effect.
Okay.
All we see is promises.
Okay.
Nigerians, bear with us. This phase will be over. Okay, let's when you tell a child that if you score A in all your papers, I'll buy you a bicycle. The child is putting all his best into reading and because he wants to get that bicycle. And if at the end of the day, the child now make all A's and you didn't buy the bicycle, you make the child sad because the promise you've made and you have to keep to the promise. So when people in government promise the populace of a better life, then it must reflect. I agree that the insecurity in the north affected our food security. Because most producers are coming from there. That's why the price of some commodities in the market skyrocketed. We agree. But Michael Ray, have we not passed the era of going to till the soil to plant? What happened to mechanized agriculture? What happened to getting a barrack, one of your barracks, get a big acres there and do a greenhouse there?
Okay, now the federal government would argue with you on account of what they've used the money for. You talked about road construction. Yes. According to our knowledge, we have about 700-kilometer Lagos-Calabar coastal line.
What happened to the?
We have the 1,058 Sokoto-Badagry road, and we also have the Gombe-Biu. That's about within 125 kilometers, if I can remember, because I still have.
What happened to the Abuja-Kogi-Itakpe road? The federal road. What happens to Ekpoma federal road linking to Benin from Lagos, linking down to Delta? The road is still line follow. What happened to the East-West road leading to Port Harcourt?
Well, anyway, you see, I thank God I'm not working for the federal government.
What happened to the Agbo Uromi federal road that caught to Onitsha?
I feel the Minister of Work would really rather have to answer your question, but
no, because these are the roads. They said they are doing this pro, but we are not seeing it. You just imagine you going to Benin. This road has been there for almost a decade. So what's happening? Thank God that the governor is even trying to cushion the part of from Delta axis.
Yeah.
But the other part, you normally going to Benin before you take an hour. You are in Edo State. An hour, you are back to Delta. Today, you do 3 hours on that route. And it slowed economic progress as well, because when you have all of this, people that run that services also, you have slowed. Imagine a driver that will do 4 trips a day. I know how much you're going to get on that day. But now you can only do 2 trips. You go 3 hours, you come back 3 hours, 6 hours. You have how many hours in a day?
Okay, now, as much as we've said that, let's now come back to the report, because I'm really critical about that very report. Well, in case you're joining us, yes, it's Dialogue on Atlantic TV. And today we're looking at that recently released IMF report on Nigeria. Remember, it was all put together on June 1st, and we were fully expecting it to be released. But funny enough, it was released a week later, which was June 8th. And that report is right here on our table, and we are analyzing it, especially as it concerns what the IMF is saying. Well, like in case you're joining us, the IMF have come to say, well, definitely they believe the reforms that this administration has put in place seems to be working. But unfortunately, on a negative tone, we have more Nigerians deep into poverty than we had when these reforms were initiated in 2023. Like they said, we have now 63% of Nigerians, which Comrade Kelvin Ejumudo seems to be saying they are modest about, and they are economical about the truth. But we have more Nigerians now living in poverty, 80%, as he says, undermining, well, I don't know whether he's a technician now, but anyway, let's leave who he is, but remain with what we are discussing and actually pondering on what needs to be done. Now, another major culprit of this very report is that they said insecurity in the north, which is more like the bedrock of our food industry, seems to also be giving us a red eye.
Yes.
On account of not having more farmers going to farm. Insecurity have persisted longer than required, and in beginning to have that very resounding effect as it concerns our food security. If you take your mind back, before I came on the show today, I had to do my own little survey, and I went to the market just yesterday. Basket of rice, I'd rather go, let's stick with the basket rather than rather than going through the bag, which we know many Nigerians cannot afford at the moment. A basket of mango rice is put at about 6,000 to 6,500. A basket of beans is put about 4,500, depending on the stones you have in it. Less stones, you see it for 5,000 naira. Basket of gari, which is also a staple right here, sells between 1,400 to 1,500 naira. 1 liter of palm oil is between 3,600 to about 4,000 naira. A liter of groundnut oil now sells for between 4,500 naira to 5,000 naira. And we can go on and on. Tomatoes now, if you go there, you might just rather use tin rather than having to use the normal one we used to get what you need. But, you know, this is a pure reflection of where we are at the moment as it concerns our food security. And honestly, it seems to be in the negative trend, which in every way co-supports what the IMF have said. Now, having less farmers go to farm and having food increase is a problem.
Yes, it is.
This have bedeviled us for more than a decade now. Even during the time of late President Muhammadu Buhari, we've always had less farmers. Some farmers were even more killed then. And I feel the phobia is what is now tripling in, that we're having less people go to farm.
Yes.
In your own assessment, why have we not been able to better protect our farmers?
Yeah, because we are still playing politics and sentiment with the fight against insurgency.
Okay.
You see, the late General Sani Abacha said, if insurgency lasts more than 24 hours, the government of the day, they have a hand in it.
Okay.
And President Vladimir Putin will tell you that you don't negotiate with terrorists. You send them to where they ought to be. But in Nigeria, we hold meetings with terrorists. We applaud them in meetings. They come in their full regalia and armor to government functions to deliberate on issues. They give a marching order to the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and we've not been able to give our own order to terrorists to lay down their arms or face the full weight of the government and the law. And a country where you said some persons, terrorists, they were repentant, and you brought them back and installed them into the military to go about and support the fight against insecurity. And today, as security administration have been bastardized and compromised, then we know we are not ready to fight or to combat insecurity. Remember, you agree with me, we had a program here on this your studio.
Yes.
Where the NSA office gave brand new vehicles to repentant terrorists that said they want to go and help to fight their other colleagues. And they ran away with their munitions, they ran away with the bosses, till date, nothing came out of it. So in all of this, what does it tell you? That our government of the day, we are playing with people's life. We are not being sincere in this fight against insurgency. You see terrorists coming out on TikTok to show to the world the ransom they've collected in our country. It's a national disgrace to our country. And some gullible Nigerians also were sending them account number to give them money. They said they want to do giveaway. Nigerians were sending account number to terrorists to give them money. That's how we've lost it as a people. So until the right man mounts the right office to tackle insecurity, we'll have it more worse, my dear. Because now, in some quarters, the locals are complaining that the military officials are even buying their products at a very cheap rate.
Yeah. Because they want to give them protection, they will not buy all the products from them at a cheaper rate. Then those military people, they are doing businesses now. Some buy cucumber, some buy watermelon, some buy lettuce, some buy maize, and they are also into the business of trading. Well, anyway, if they can trade and Nigerians eat more, where many Nigerians will feel that that's not wrong.
They are not supposed to trade. They are supposed to allow free passage of commodities to every player.
As alleged, rather, we want to put it as alleged.
No, this one's not alleged. I have evidence to back my claims. I've seen where farmers were saying they were demanding for money, and some of their products were being bought by military personnel for the military personnel.
Okay, but I rather want us to go to a report from geopolitical research of SMB intelligence, which also is where we like putting our facts in. And recently they released a report indicating that bandits now tax farmers. Yes. And let us look at some of the taxes. Now, according to the SBM intelligence report, they say pre-season farming right, farmers must pay upfront of ranging between 50,000 to 100,000 before they can access their farm. In some communities, in either Zamfara, Niger, Castina, Sokoto, and Kebbi. And they said also harvest and access taxes. Now, before you go to harvest your crop, you pay within a range of 100 to 300,000 per individual farmer. And or they even ask of taxes from other means. And
even the farm produce, the terrorists, they take a
larger chunk for themselves.
And they tell you to proceed after paying tax to them. So in a country where people not pay tax to bandits to go to their farm, then the willpower of me going to farm will not be there. I'd rather stay in my house, do a small subsistence farming for me and my family, where we just plant in the back of our house, than to go to my farm. At the end of the day, somebody will not come and tell me to pay 300,000 naira for me to harvest. 100,000 naira for me to go and clear. Then when I harvest and I'm coming out from the farm, they select what they want and give me the rest to go. And that tells you that there's a big issue that would have not been addressed here. The issue of the willpower to combat insurgency.
Okay, now you've just talked about the willpower. You feel it's more like a political issue and not generally
political come religious.
That's why we're having it.
That's why we're having it. Yes, there are a lot of sentiment in all quarters. You give the charge, somebody else is telling them, retreat, don't shoot. The commander-in-chief give the charge, somebody is telling them, retreat, don't shoot, don't advance. So at the end of the day, because I keep wondering, these are Nigerian soldiers that brought normalcy in Sierra Leone, in Liberia, in Morovia. How come now we're having our own issues? And the north is not like the south, whereby you have trees and all of that. There's some areas are like desert, whereby you can use your area view to see through where people are moving from. You take 400 people, you kidnap them, you take them through a route. Nobody calls DSS, nobody calls the police, nobody calls the military. Even some of the locals also, they are accomplices in this business.
Okay, now, as much as you've talked about accomplice, we can go on and on talking about how really severe this problem have hit us, with even the IMF coming out to say, come, that is where your problem lies. Try and see if you have a change of narrative. But a change of narrative is what we want. Just like I said in my introduction, while this report was being released, the House of Representatives was also having their own debate as it concerns the growing insecurity. And we do know that a motion was moved by no other person but Representative Ibe Osuwa, who represents Arochukwu Ohofia Federal Constituency in Abia during plenary yesterday. Okay. He called for the service chiefs to deal with these issues and said if they could not really deal with these issues, there's every need for them to resign. Because we're talking about the inaction of our military helping to curb this problem that we're being faced with for a very long time. Now, let's look at what we need to do. Should the resign of this service chief, he is not only the one calling for the resignation of the service chiefs. If you take your mind back to last week, also the spiritual head of the Redeemed Christian Church also called, and we're talking of no other person but Pastor Adeboye called for the resignation of this service chief if they could not in every way rein in the insecurity in the country. So let's look at that. Should that be the way to go? Because if you really take your mind back, the service chiefs are not the one on ground, but they have men on ground.
The first point of order is the service chief. How were they appointed? Were they appointed on the ground of this man has an history of combatant? This man have an history of counterterrorism? That's where we look at, first of all. Some don't even have, they've not been in the field. They don't know what it means to be in the war front, in the battlefield. But because he's your tribesman, you want to favor him, you put him there. Attachment of over 300 million persons? It's an aberration for crying out loud. If we're not saying they should resign, you sack them. What are you waiting for somebody to resign? And average Nigerian, we rather want to die in the position than to resign honorably. Except when there are a lot of issues facing them at the same time, that's why you see some of them will just resign. But average Nigerian will want to look for excuses. You are appointed to this job. You see, even our Air Force going to miss the target and kill unarmed civilians. Several questions, they come and apologize. Who does? And nobody's held responsible for that. It is said in a code that if the civilian life will be tampered with, abort an operation. If life of one civilian will be go down, you just abort that mission.
But how do you do this when these persons are always used as human shield? Let's look at the issue that is even playing out in Oyo. Those children have been in captivity for close to now going to a month.
Yes.
And the reason the Nigerian army and others have even not given that total push is that they fear that if they do, the lives of these children might be compromised in a very strong way. So, is this not more than what we can chew as a people?
It's not more than what we can chew, for crying out loud, my Gary. An American soldier was stranded in the Iranian soil. They pull all strings. You see, you don't give an excuse. We want these children and these teachers back, safe, healthy, and alive. What do? You study your location. These men, they sleep. They must sleep. You study them, know their sleep time, know their routine, get a good understanding of it, then let your ground troops to stop there. Because the longer you leave them, the more these terrorists they get devastated, they get angry, and they take life. You saw the teacher the other day was beheaded. The longer you leave them with negotiations, while you're negotiating with them, trying to buy time, your troops are closing on them. And when they see they're close on them, they will run away and leave the hostages. It has happened before. Yeah. When you close on terrorists, you close on them, the best thing they will do, they want to save their life, they will run away and leave the hostages there. But when we keep saying we're giving excuse, then okay, is it when they now get angry and kill all of them? Would this will not say we've done something? No. These people are there in Nigerian soil. You have your GPS. You see, I don't know why we keep waiting for their modern technology. Use your drone to do a surveillance on that place. They will not even know. You pick both voice recording as they're talking, you picking everything. You know how many persons are armed there. There are devices you use to know how many people are having guns in that place. What's the strong room? What's the exit point? Who gives them food? You block the food chain. Who gives them drugs? You block the drug chain. They become when they become stranded, then they'll run away and leave your stages. There are ways you go about these whole issues. If you do counter-terrorism, you know how to map up. When someone is kidnapped, you know the next exit point they are going to. Now, if they know you're closing on them on this part, you now know that they will move to this part. As they're moving there, you ambush. Because it keeps baffling that these terrorists will go into a barrack. Do you know what it means to go into a barrack? Overpower our military, take their munitions, take their vehicles, and go away and be celebrating it. To run a barrack. So where are the surveillance in the barracks? Are they sleeping? So it tells something somewhere. It's not me. I'm calling for the sack of the NSA. The National Security Advisor should be sacked as a matter of urgency. Because if he can give bandits guns to go and fight their fellow terrorists, and at the end of the day they run away with the vehicles and the guns, he should be sacked for that single act. I thought he should bring from office. It means he has compromised his office. When you take such tasks, you don't go religious, you don't go ethically biased, you stand for the nation.
But talking about standing for the nation, there's this growing call that as much as we are having these children in captivity for a long time, negotiation should be the way forward. What's your take on that?
They are negotiating.
Gumi has said we should renegotiate. Others are calling for more negotiations. Should we negotiate with this terrorists?
Gumi first should be arrested and kept somewhere first to come, because he keep defending them. Whenever they attack terrorists, you come and start building defense for terrorists. I do not know, and he is also a military personnel. So if you keep coming up to defend what is not good, then I don't know what to say, because anyone that comes and defend an evil act of terrorism, you're also a terrorist. Same thing the minister of defense said. That anybody that have empathy for terrorists, that person was also a terrorist. These people, they maim, they destroy, they kill, they rape women, they kill our children, they put them to trauma. Do you know any child in that community, when they come back, it takes a longer time for that trauma to leave their head. Seeing people holding guns on the head of minor every day, the trauma is something else. I can imagine being somewhere and your children is in the bush being kidnapped. You as the parents, you cannot even sleep, you cannot even think straight. And some of these women there, they are being molested sexually. So if you say they should negotiate to what? To agree to their terms of giving them 1 billion naira? To give them 2 Eloxes? And to exchange the terrorists in cell in Oyo for them? No! That decision cannot even fly. You can't release terrorists in detention to go and give to them to make them have more strength to constitute more nuisances. The mistake the Buhari administration did is what we're suffering from today. Saying we have 774 repentant Boko Haram, they wore them white and green cap, and give them food and give them things, and even pay them stipend. A lot of them went back again to join their colleagues. A terrorist is a terrorist because the free money they get from this insurgency, you can't pay them that money as a government.
Yeah.
So if you give them peanut, they look at it, 2 days money is over, the next thing that comes to their mind is crime. Yeah. Just saying an armed robber has repented, said they want to do armed robbery, you just make sure it's not broke. The day he or she is broke, they go back to the street and carry arms. Same way, these terrorists, you don't have to give an order that you should release your colleagues in your prison to come and join you. Put not release those people. No, government should give them government should hold them on the negotiation table. Why underground rescue mission is there? You can't. I don't know what's happening, and I keep saying it, that the host community, some of them are also accomplices. People will come and kidnap foreign people, passing. You know if you can call. Because if you to carry 400 persons, if you have 400 persons here now, you must see them. Yeah. Because some will cry. Not everybody will keep quiet in the vehicle. Some will be wailing. Help, they will stop. You know that these persons that are being moved,
they are being stressed.
Then you could go all out. That they will move freely with these people from the point of school to the forest and no act. You see, that's why these people keep doing what they are doing. If you commit a crime and the government come after you, you don't have that strength to plan, to strategize. Now, what do we do? Get all the blocks of the terrorists in the country. Okay. Where are their strongholds? Then you take on them.
Okay, now, we've had recent successes as it concerns dealing with these terrorists and bandits, as we call them. I could still remember just a month ago, to be precise, the United States president gave us that cheering news that was really reaffirmed again by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu of the killing of number 2 commander or number 2 in position of ISIS. That is a Nigerian and was a Nigerian, and also had a sleeping cell right here in Nigeria, Brunei to be precise, where he was finally eliminated. Now, let's look at collaboration. Yeah, we know the US is fully engaged now in the war in Iran, and are also looking at about extending their might, not only in Venezuela, but also Cuba. And many Nigerians feel that has been more of a distraction and less beneficial to us on account of paying so much for our oil, but most especially not giving the Americans the ability to concentrate with us, which they look as something they need to do. But let's generally look at foreign assistance and how that can really help us deal with this growing issue of insecurity.
My career, we are helpless.
Helpless we are.
Nigeria, we are as a country, we are helpless. Because we can't secure our borders. We can't secure our populace. So the president should not wait anymore to have a meeting with President Donald Trump and ask for full U.S. invasion.
Boots on ground.
Yes, because even while they're on ground sharing us intelligence, Nigeria, the weak power, the American can give you some intelligence now and say, this is the point. The man that wants to take the message to that point will compromise on his way. Because his brothers are there. We tell them they have given an education, people should move from that point to that point. So it's making the fight even difficult. Give the US military a full-scale operation in Nigeria, so I bet you, in 1 month, we'll have this area cleansed from banditry. Because at the end of the day, we will tell them, okay, they give us intelligence, we don't work with it. If the US can collaborate with the Nigerian military and take up the number 2 man of ISIS, that tells you they are very accurate in their tracking system and precise. They can even tell, Americans can tell you now where those children they have, how many persons dead is armed, how many is not armed, what time they fall asleep. You do your surveillance for crying out loud. And these things, they are not expensive to do. These drones you can buy, it even reduces your danger of your officers, of men.
Yeah, being lost in battle.
They are drones that we loaded with ammunition and they launch into the deep and they do the job and come back. You don't want the manpower to go there. If from where you appoint, you direct the drone to the target, it takes on everybody and people are rescued. But we don't spend money for the right things, we spend money for the irrelevant issues.
But now, looking at the relevant and irrelevant issues, just like what the IMF said, because the report is what is giving us this elaborate discussion.
Very well.
Politics is now taking center stage in the country. And many will say governance seem to have taken a back seat. When in the era, no surprise, more persons were even thinking that some of those primaries that were conducted during when the children were kidnapped should have been postponed. But we do know the Electoral Act or electoral law forbids extending more than a certain time. But
yes,
let's look at politicking. Do you feel all of this is also attributed to the 2027 general election? Because if you take your mind back to August of last year, the former CDS, who is now the Minister of Defense, raised that alarm that, come on, as the election comes close, we're going to see an uptick of violence, which he looks as if he was indeed Mr. Prophet of Doom. I wonder why they've not called him Bishop Yakubu now in every way, Musa Yakubu. But let's look at politicking and how that have also helped in not helping to curb the growing insecurity in the country, but rather making everybody politicking rather than safeguarding us as a people.
I quite agree that this whole recent rise in insecurity has political undertone.
Okay.
I agree with you 100%.
Okay.
You can remember that in the rise of the Buhari election at that time, Chibok girls were kidnapped during Jonathan's era. And that was used as a propaganda to discredit Jonathan's government. And everybody...
as a talking chip.
Just talking chip like, bring back our girls, bring back our girls. Now we've got him, bring back our students and teachers. That's a movement that also started based on elections coming. Now, what a government should do is this. When the CDS at that time, now Minister of Defense, gave that postulation, it's better now for them to now do their own grand work. You see, when you talk that because we are fighting because it's politics, what have you done in your own office to ensure that, okay, you nip it at the ball? Now, you know that when election is coming, there's going to be a rise of violence. So what do? You brace up the task. You change your tactics. Rather than doing 12-hour surveillance, you do 24-hour surveillance. Rather than, waiting for them to strike, you take the battle to them. and dislodge their accounts.
Yeah.
If you dislodge their accounts, these people they'll be restless, they'll start moving up and down, and they'll be apprehended. It's as simple as that. Don't come.
So you feel we're less proactive, but we're always reactionary.
We are never proactive. We always react when the issue has been done. You see people traveling there for condolence visit, everybody go there to visit, give them rights, give your family, give them rights, give them 1 million, give them 2 million. That's not what the family needs at this point. Because another school will also be attacked.
Yeah.
If the government do not stand and rise to the position of the day. And Governor Makinde should also stop playing politics with this issue with the presidency. He who is not fearful for. You come to forget party. This is not time for because you are going for another party, president is another party. No, it's time for collaboration.
But talking about collaboration, that is where the question lies now. Makinde might be the chief security officer of the state, but he's not under the control of security apparatus in his state. That is strictly a federal issue. Undermining, we're not happy that the House or the National Assembly is now thinking towards the issue of state police, which in every way will be another talking point for us come next week, because all of that can be done this week for it to be more like a framework that the remaining 36 houses of assembly would now also deliberate on before it finally becomes into law. But let's look at our own internal security, because that's where it lies now, and how really robust and ready we are for state police, and if it will help curb this growing insecurity and get more Nigerians out of poverty.
The blame game should be kept aside.
Okay.
Governor Makinde should not say who's the CS of the state? The governor.
Yes, of course.
Governor is the chief security officer of a state. You saw yesterday, there was uprising yesterday, the governor immediately called all leaders of ethnic minorities to say, please, let's dialogue for peace. Yeah. Because the more we bleed in peace, the less we bleed in war. And they all came together, they all signed a peace accord, and everybody left. So the governor should not say, why did Governor Sheriff wait for Tinubu to come and interfere? That matter, no. If Governor Makinde is saying he's the one in charge, but he's not in charge of security, no. The Commissioner of Police of the state reports to the governor.
Of course.
Give him security briefing. They have security briefing. So what happened to the DSS in the state, the military in the state, and also the police in the state? Were they not postulations? Didn't they have an hint that something like this is going to happen? Yeah. Like I saw now in the DSS circular in Edo State, that they should protect the schools around there because there are possible attack on schools. Good. Now that they've seen it now, a proactive yes, you now go 24-hour surveillance on all schools during school hour. Both boarding school and day school, you ensure that 24-hour surveillance they have it. But not when it has happened, you see them start moving up and down looking for a solution. The presidency must rise to the occasion. Okay. The governors also of their state also must rise to spend the money on security. Don't go and look for crisis because you want to eat security vote money. No. Spend the money on security, because at the end of the day, what you fail to spend for insecurity, you will spend it for ransom payment.
Okay, now let's quickly go, because time is not a friend. Do you see the state police that is being thought about, that is being pushed? Do you see state police helping out to deal with this issue?
I'm not advocate of state police. I don't support it, because it's going to be worse.
Wow.
Look, they will come and also do what their predecessors are doing. You are bringing a state policeman to come and do what? Have you paid the federal police very well? What's the life pension of federal police? What's the state of the barracks? So you bring somebody, you employ the person to come and do the same routine will continue. Pay the federal police, pay them very well first, secure their barracks, make them, there was someone I went to, I saw police officers sleeping on ordinary floor. I told them, I said, in fact, I'm not happy with this way the police are treated in this country. This man lying on the right floor, tomorrow you give him a rifle to go and do what? So do what? Mentally, the man is not stable. He didn't have a good sleep. The money you tell him to come out, they buy uniforms, they buy the ammunition themselves. The other day they were calling out soldiers, they were giving soldiers small ration of food to go and fight soldiers. And you think they will go all out to go and risk their lives? And when they die, what do they get? 1 million as that fee.
Okay, well, anyway, Comrade Kelvin Ejumudo, we can talk all and all because, well, the discussion is always so robust, especially when it concerns issues that truly affect the general public and indeed Nigerians as a whole. But all the same, I need to really thank you so much for adding your voice to it. We've looked at the issue of the IMF recent report, and not only that, but look at something that is correlated for the issue of the growing poverty in the country, which is insecurity, which you have really, in your own honest assessment, deliberated on. But all the same, we need to say thank you so very much. I know how busy you are. You were in Asaba yesterday, but you needed to come back, especially as it concerns the issue that is being playing out in Delta. But before you go, a quick word as it concerns that, a push for peace from all ethnic nationalities.
My solemn advice to the Ijos, the Chekiri, and the Urhobos in Warri is, we are all brothers and sisters. There's no family in Ijo that you don't have a Chekiri wife or a Chekiri mother there. Same with the Urhobos, same with the Chekiris. We are all brothers. It's time for us to come together and develop our region, not fighting ourselves. Our region is backward. Our support is not working. We should, if three of you come together and push a proposal to the federal government to say, let Warri support also be approved as deep support. With this strength we have, something good will come out of it. But when we keep fighting ourselves because of elections that will come and go, and our people are suffering. How many companies do we have within the federal Warri constituency that we're fighting about? How many companies do we have there? We need more development to come here to drive our youth. If our youth are engaged, because anybody that's sent to go and carry gun and kill the next tribe person, his own son and his own daughter will not be in that battlefield. They are in abroad, having 2 dual citizenship. If he cast here, they don't travel, go abroad. So you, please, live peacefully with your brother. Don't see Chikiri man as your enemy, Ijo man. Urhobo man, see them also as a brother. We all live here and we all exist someday. Our children will come and we don't have to create enmity for them to start fighting themselves.
Well, anyway, we just needed that, especially as you were part of the meeting that the governor convened some days ago. Thank you so much for that. But we need to say thank you especially for taking your time and being a part of it. We truly would say we always enjoy your presence. And like Oliver Twist, we always ask for more.
My pleasure always.
Okay. Well, anyway, the pleasure is all mine also. You do know we always enjoy talking on dialogue, and we hold no holds bar. We always enjoy deliberating all the issues and then bringing them to you. But like I will always implore you to please send your comments, contributions, and reaction, especially as concerns our discussion today. Let's get your take as it concerns the growing insecurity in the country. And not only that, what can we do to elevate poverty? I'm talking about the federal government. Looking at that very report saying, yes, the reform seems to be working, but the poverty level seems to be also increasing. What needs to be done? Your reactions as it concerns that will truly be appreciated. But talking about appreciating it, well, definitely, we're still the midweek and that the news will follow. But still remember, it's Viewpoint on Atlantic TV.